Hello everyone, welcome to Scorched Earth Toys at anymoon.com's review of the Tamashii exclusive accessory kit for the Bandai 1/100 scale Hi-Metal VF-19Kai Valkyrie. Bandai released its VF-19Kai in January 2010 for 7,000 yen. It came in a box that looks like this. That toy was the best VF-19 available at the time because there really was no other competition. But pretty much everyone who bought it said, where are the accessories that should come with this toy, like landing gears? And also, why can't this toy stow its gun in fighter mode? And then, should it have the speaker pods in the shoulders? There were lots of things that could have come with the toy, and none of them did. To address this, we got the Tamashii exclusive accessory kit, which was released in August 2010 for about 2,100 yen. So the combined total would be 9,100 yen, which is kind of outrageous. So something to keep in the back of your mind. In the box, you get 3 display stand adapters, a display stand base, 2 display stand arms, because there's 2 different pegs, which lets you have some fun with it. I'll show you later. You get the fists, the closed fixed posed hands. You get those speaker pod shoulders, the landing gears, and of course instructions. The display stand base is pretty fancy. It looks like this, which, granted, it's all black. Maybe it would have been nice if it was painted in some way, shape, or form, but it really captures the Macross 7 vibe to it, doesn't it? Inside the base, there are little slots. 1 here, here, and 2 up here. And those slots are where the landing gears attach, which you're probably saying to yourself, that doesn't make any sense. They should attach to the toy. And I would tend to agree with you, but here we go. Goes 2 landing gear. And then the front one has 2 little pegs off the wheel. It goes up in the neck of the guitar. So there you go. Landing gears are now in place. The display stand comes with this little adapter piece. This allows you to put the handle of the gun into the adapter piece. Slide it in. Got to angle it forward a little bit if you can, because the way it's going to fit into your VF-19Kai, again sold separately, is it pegs in to little slots on either side of these veneers. So sometimes it seems like it's easier to go ahead and peg in the attachment first, but you're using a very thin handle on the gun to do this, so definitely be careful. You don't want to bend your gun handle, but there you go. Now we have a VF-19Kai that can have its gun attached in fighter mode, and there's a little tab in the front of this front landing gear. There's a little slot right in front of the gun. So essentially, that is the toy on landing gears with its gun attached. So that is the big plus of this accessory kit. Something that pretty much everyone hoped the toy would have done out of the box, but can do now. If you were not attaching the gun, we can remove this little adapter piece, and we can stow the gun. There's a little spot for the handle right there. We can stow the gun in the back. So a little storage area there. And then obviously we can remove the landing gears. You want to do that kind of carefully because, again, it's a thin peg that's going into a thicker display base. And then we can attach this arm, which has a pivot point at the base. It can rotate around, and it has another pivot point at the top, and then it has a little left-right action. Now, if you've seen my Hi-Metal toy reviews, you know that the VF-19S actually came with a display stand. Not as fancy of a base, but still very similar. This arm is exactly the same. You get a connector piece like this. You can then pop it in. So the front peg goes right into that same peg we just used for the landing gears. and then the back ones will clip in right around where the legs and the arm come together. And then you would just plop this in. Now, you could probably tell already, if you were using the gun, none of this would work. So they've come up with kind of a half-ass solution for attaching the gun in fighter mode, and that does not work once you throw everything on the display stand. The angled ability doesn't work perfectly because there's no ratcheting to it. So oftentimes the weight of the toy will cause it to angle steeper than you had hoped. Also in the box is a second display stand arm, which can plug into the base, the back of the base. This arm allows you to, if you have purchased another Hi-Metal toy or the sound booster, which was sold separately and looks like this. There's a little hole in the bottom of the sound booster. You can just peg it right in, and then you could display your Fire Valkyrie with its sound booster flying. And obviously you could adjust both of these display stands to do something a little more dynamic than this. But it's an interesting bit of forethought for Bandai, who otherwise seems to have shown very little with these toys. If you purchased the VF-19S toy, you know it came with just about everything we've seen so far, but it did not come with the adapter to attach the gun in fighter mode. So just real quick to show you, yes, this does work. The gun handle's a little bit different, a little tighter fit, but it does go right on. And you can flip the toy over and plug in just like you would the Fire Valkyrie's gun. And the VF-19S does come with landing gears, so you'd be able to now plug this onto its display stand base and have the gun attached. So a little bit of a bummer, you get one gun attachment piece. It could work for two different toys since neither one of them came with that attachment piece. The display stand does come with an adapter for gearwalk mode. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out very well for me. So here's the adapter. Here it is fitting on the pegs that used to connect the legs to fighter mode. If I put it on the display stand now, the weight, since it is on the very back of the toy, is too much for the pivot to handle. Just wants to come down. So I can find a couple spots where it works, but overall it is completely useless for me. Now I will note that my Blazer Valk, which comes with essentially the same display stand arm, is stiff enough where it works. So this might be a luck of the draw type circumstance, but either way, this connector, this display stand, gear walk mode, not really working out for me. Okay, there are a few accessories we haven't really touched on yet, and those are the fists and the shoulder pods. So the fists, as you would expect, you can just remove the fixed posed hands that I currently have on the toy and I put on the toy during the gear walk mode transformation. And I can replace them with fists. And they just plug right in. And they're also on a ball, just like the original fists were, so you can rotate them around. And now you've gone from pacifist Basara to angry Basara. Okay? We'll call them determined. The next part, let's say, alright, I want to do my open speaker mechanism. That gets a little weird. You're going to go ahead and remove the entire arm. Now, as you can see, there is a couple very thin pegs on a rotating joint in there. There's also the arm itself, which then pops off of a ball joint. So here I have my old shoulder, which I will replace with my new shoulder, which has those open speakers. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to line them up. Not the easiest thing. Okay, so they're just pivoted in on me, so I put my finger behind that. Okay, there we go. So now it's attached, and it's got the open speakers. And now I just need to reattach my arm to that ball joint. So there's my arm peg. There it goes. So now I've got my arm on, I've got the open speaker mechanism. Obviously just same thing on the other side. Off. Let's see if I can do it a little bit better this time. So slot, pegs, just kind of lining them up. Got them in. Removing arm from previous shoulder, lining up. Alright, so that is on there now. Obviously, if you don't have lights and a camera in front of your face, this will probably be easier for you to accomplish than it is for me. You still have these fold down flaps, which are completely unnecessary since you can't use these in fighter mode. I guess Bandai was just going for some uniformity there. But there you go. So obviously these speaker pods leave a little bit to be desired. Let's take a little closer look here. There's no paint. It's just molded in detail. So that to me looks awfully plain. There you go from the back. Again, molded in detail, but very plain. For those of you that are real sticklers for color, you may notice that the new shoulder pad with the open speakers is actually a slightly darker yellow than the original one. I don't think it's enough to notice really when it's on the toy, but I thought I'd point that out. Also, inside the shoulder is that swing down concealer part, but the shoulder is so thick now you can barely notice it, so I don't know how useful you will find that. Alright, let's move on and take a look at how the toy does on the display stand. You have a Batroid adapter. Flipping the toy over, you can see there is a slot behind the cod piece. Just pegs in right there, and then it kind of cradles the bottom of the toy. So we would then just take the display stand, plug him in, and there you have a flying Basara, which I'm probably saying terribly wrong, so I apologize. Maybe I should just call him Neki. Alright, so you also have this other arm. You have a sound booster if you bought it separately. You could either have it in the flying mode and just have it flying up to the Fire Valkyrie, or you can go ahead and peg in and then peg in like this, and now you have it flying in to attach. So you can have a little bit of fun with it even in Batroid mode. Kind of up to you. You could also, it is stable enough where if I take this peg out, I can bring the sound booster and attach it. You're too good for your home. Let's spin that around and see what's happening on the other side there. We're missing. Okay. So we bring the arms in a tad. Definitely check out my separate sound booster review also. And there we go. Now we have the Fire Valkyrie complete with sound booster, which we can kind of play around with a little bit. It's supported just fine because now there's even more weight right over the center. So nothing really to worry about there, except for maybe left to right, since again, that's not ratcheted. If you were to compare this toy to Toynami's 1/100 scale VF1 toys, you would think this toy is amazing. If you were to compare the VF-19 Fire Valkyrie toy to Yamato's 160 Fire Valkyrie toy, you would find yourself constantly asking why Bandai mailed it in. So, it's a decent toy. It's by no means Toynami terrible, but it's also definitely not well thought out or executed, or as well thought out or executed as it should have been. And the accessory kit puts lipstick on the pig. It tries to make up for poor design choices for the original toy. The way the landing gears don't really attach to the toy. It's called the Hi-Metal line. You'd think they maybe do some magnets or do something other than just resting the toy on a shelf. the way the gun can't attach without an extra clip to fighter mode. It all just seems half-assed. And then you get the shoulders, which require a whole bunch of disassembly, and then the arms popping back in. Just nothing operates as fluidly as if someone had started from the very beginning thinking, this is the toy I'm going to make. Even the sound booster has to clip on with some extra piece instead of just being integrated. If they knew all along they were going to do a sound booster, why couldn't they have figured out something more clever? So the accessory kit helps. If you have a Hi-Metal toy, I do encourage you, if you can pick one up cheap, to pick up the accessory kit. It does, like I said, puts lipstick on the pig, but it doesn't make a so-so toy great. So have that in mind. Check out my review for the Fire Valkyrie, the accessories, and the sound booster, all up on anymoon.com. And as always, thanks for watching.